My feelings for Alyssa faded the moment I saw them kiss. This is a story from my college days. My girlfriend of 3 years was cheating on me. I found out the truth through a message from a friend. "Hey Luke, I saw your girlfriend walking with another guy into a hotel." I thought it must have been a joke. Alyssa would never cheat on me. At first, I was sure of that. Me and Alyssa were living together. We were in college together. We got close through a seminar we had when we were freshmen and ended up dating. We're seniors now. I thought we were getting along just fine with neither of us cheating. Even with what he told me, I thought my friend must have been mistaken. I asked her directly, "Hey, my friend said that he saw you walking with another man. Is that true?" "What? I haven't done anything like that. He must have been mistaken." She showed no signs of panic at all. She isn't lying, is she? She denied the allegation nonchalantly, so I assumed that my friend was just seeing things. I told him that he was just wrong about the situation. He insisted that it couldn't have been a mistake. With no photo to prove it, it was hard to narrow down the truth of his statement. Alyssa found a job before I did. She got hired at a rather early stage, so I was a bit jealous of her. Not getting any good results with my job hunting, my life was full of busy days. Classes at school on top of job hunting, plus a part-time job. Me, someone who focused on extracurriculars and didn't show up for class very often, was paying the price after becoming a fourth year. Due to that, I spent my days waking up early, leaving the house, working till midnight, and then going back home. It was around that time when I witnessed Alyssa cheating on me. There was a day where my manager knew my tight schedule and let me get off earlier than scheduled. I was thinking, finally, I can get some real rest. And then I saw it. At 10 p.m., I saw another man coming out of my house as I was getting closer. "I had fun today." "Me too. I can't wait to see you again." Then they shared a quick kiss at my entrance hall. A total cheat. My feelings for Alyssa faded the moment I saw them kiss. I went to my house as soon as he was out of sight. "I'm home." "Oh, you're home earlier than usual." "My boss let me off early today. Did coming home early inconvenience you somehow?" No, that's not what I meant. Did you eat already?" "Yeah, I ate at work." I look in the direction of the sink. There were 2 empty wine glasses there. "Who did you have over?" "What? Why are you asking?" "There's 2 used wine glasses in the sink." "Oh, this? That's not what that is. I accidentally put this cup in the sink even though I wanted to drink more. So I took out another glass." I was speechless watching her desperately trying to get her story together. I apologized to the friend who messaged about it before. "You were right. She was cheating after all." "I knew it," he responded. Then he cheered me up afterwards. But I just couldn't believe Alyssa would do something like cheat. Plus, we were still students and not married or anything. If she had someone else she liked, then she should have just told me. I decided to ask her directly. "Hey, I saw you with another man the other day. Are you, by chance, cheating on me?" Her eyes widened for a split second, but she gave an answer in a quiet, solemn manner. "What? You're bringing this up again? You're just mistaken. If you doubt me that much, then I'll just break up with you." I couldn't believe that she would have the nerve to get mad at me. Seeing her lying to my face like it's nothing was really starting to get to me. Of course I planned on breaking up, but I wouldn't have been satisfied just breaking it off with her. I wanted to teach her a lesson. To do that, I had to confirm what kind of person the sideman was. I didn't know how to go about it, so I went back to my friend for advice. "I could keep tabs on him if you want." She brought that other guy over when I was working a late shift, so I had my friend be on the lookout the next Friday night when I had to work late again. And just as expected, she brought him over on that very day. On top of getting a picture of them holding each other at the entrance hall, my friend also followed the guy and located his house. My friend may as well have been a detective. He said, "Playing detective is a blast." Then we staked out his place together. Judging from the picture, he didn't look like a college student, so we predicted that he was either a company employee or somebody doing odd jobs. To figure him out, we staked out his place from early in the morning. He came out in a business suit, so he must be a company worker. Just what kind of person was this guy? We trailed behind him. I said, "Hey, this place." Lo and behold, it was where Alyssa got a job offer. She was cheating on me with someone from her future workplace. Just how did they get to know each other? I couldn't imagine the steps that led to her cheating on me. He didn't seem to be an interviewer, and they couldn't have been acquaintances before because there seemed to be a difference in age as well. Then I realized, it all must have started from an alumni visit. There was no mistaking it. Meaning that if he was from the same college as me and Alyssa, then they would have been able to meet at the event. That was my hypothesis. My clear read on the situation was that Alyssa was able to meet the sideman at the alumni visit. His name was Adam, 30 years old with a ring on his left ring finger. That's right, Alyssa was his mistress, which meant that both of them were two-timing. I couldn't forgive him or Alyssa for what they did. My desire to teach them a lesson only deepened. I decided to set up a trap for Alyssa. I lied and told her that the seniors from my club were taking a trip together over the weekend. Alyssa had to work during the day, so it would be nighttime by the time she brought him over. I got some help from my friend and moved all of my belongings at my house to another place. I actually already made the arrangements for the new room and broke the contract with the other one beforehand. The house was originally under my name, and Alyssa just started living with me somewhere along the way. They wouldn't care if I cut the contract without her consent. Like that, all of my belongings were cleared from the house, and all that remained was a more or less empty shell. All we had to do was wait for them now. And just as planned, Alyssa and her plaything came around on the night of that day. I waited for them to get out of the car and enter the house, and then went right in front of the room. I heard her scream, "What the hell is going on in here?" from the front of the entrance hall. Then my phone rang. Hello? Luke, what is this? All of your stuff is gone from the apartment. What you see is what it is. I opened the door to the entrance with full force. Alyssa let out a scream. The sideman did the same in a deep voice. Why are you here? So you were cheating all along. You can't lie your way out of this one. What? What about your trip? That was obviously a lie. It was all just to set you guys up. You lied to me? And why is your stuff gone? I brought them to my new place. There's no longer a contract on this apartment, so get your stuff together and leave by the end of the month. That's cruel. You're the worst. Who's really the worst? You were the one that was sneaking around cheating. The sideman must have felt awkward, so he tried leaving the scene. I stopped him and said, "What are you doing? I need to have you here too." Nah, you guys should talk this one out. I'm leaving. He tried to force his way out, so I sent a message to my friend waiting downstairs. The entrance hall opened with a click. The man said, "Naomi, why are you here?" I knew you were cheating on me, so I have pictures to prove it and everything. Miss Naomi was the man's wife. The photo for proof was taken by my friend. Both of you guys are coming back home with me. Both of your parents will be there too, so you better prepare yourselves. What? Both Alyssa and Adam sank down to the floor. Miss Naomi looked down on them without an ounce of pity. Following that, Alyssa and Adam got chewed out by Miss Naomi and their parents. Apparently they got divorced as well. On top of that, Miss Naomi reported all of this to Adam's company, resulting in Alyssa getting her job offer rescinded. The sideman got demoted to a physical labor position in the countryside, and Alyssa had to start job hunting again. At the same time, she had to load on more shifts at her part-time job to pay off the consolation money she owed. She was on a tight schedule and a tough position. Truly serves her right. On the other hand, I got into a company in the field of work I was interested in and was able to graduate on time. I'm deciding to just focus on my job for the time being, but if I do happen to fall in love again, I want to make sure I date a genuine person. Thank you for listening the whole way through. How did you like my story? Feel free to hit the subscribe button. I'll see you at my next talk. My name's Tom, and I work as a businessman. My kid depends on the money I bring in for my job, so even though I'm recently divorced, I haven't exactly been living it up, and I just can't spend money on anything I want. But my kid, my only daughter, has maybe had a hard time being raised by a single parent, my ex-wife. But I guess it can't be helped. All I can do is work as hard as I can to do my part. One day, though, I got a rare call from my daughter, Riley. I hadn't been to see her in a while, so I thought she just wanted a present or something. I thought it'd just be a normal conversation when I picked up the phone, but I was met with the sound of her tears as I picked up. How could you, Dad? I got expelled from high school because you stopped sending your child support every month. The whole situation sounded so ridiculous that I couldn't really process what she was saying at first. Riley, honey, what are you saying? Every month as usual, I've been depositing $1,000 in your account for your school and daily allowance. Then why is Mom so strapped for cash every month? She told me. She said it was because you'd stopped sending us money. I had no reason to lie or make excuses because I really was paying, so my daughter's words only left me confused. The money was being successfully deposited in the account every month, and there was a clear record of this. A picture of the account transactions would prove it. But the simple truth was the money was being spent. Riley was pretty flustered when she saw the pictures. So why did Mom stop paying my school payments then? The school my daughter was attending was very clear in my mind. It was a prestigious private school in our town. When she was taking the entrance exam last year, I had dropped her off at the school because my ex-wife had been busy. When she got in, I remember her voice over the phone too. And since I forked over the entire entrance fee, I remember that clearly as well. Riley, I'll make things right. Let me talk to your mom and find out. So I gave my ex a call. I thought there must be some honest mix-up going on, or rather I wanted to believe that my ex-wife wasn't doing anything bad. But unfortunately it wasn't, and I slowly learned the real truth behind it all. My ex-wife, Monica, filled me in about the real reason, almost like it was supposed to make sense. I quit my job and have had to make ends meet to pay for my living expenses. It's unfortunate for Riley, but I needed the money. I honestly heard it all at first in sudden disbelief, but the urgency of the whole situation made me come back to myself. That doesn't quite add up. The real issue here is that Riley has been expelled. As a mother, can you really stand by and let this happen to her? Well, what do you expect me to do? I'll transfer her to a public school. She'll be fine there. I'll talk to her about it tomorrow. Just keep sending the money like you have been, okay? I gotta go. And then she just hung up. And if what she said was true, I had to call Riley as soon as possible. but right after Monica hung up, I gave Riley a call. But to my surprise, Riley seemed skeptical about her mom's story. "Mom quit her job? That can't be right. She's still leaving for work every day in her dress clothes. We only get a little bit of time in the morning together because she's had a lot of overtime work lately. At least that's what she claims. Why would she lie?" It definitely wasn't adding up. I started to realize that a phone call wouldn't clear it up either. It had become a rather dire situation. The truths and lies still had to be sorted, but as to how I would do that, I had no idea. "Dad, I'm just glad to know that you've still been supporting me. I'm sorry I ever doubted you." "Don't worry about me, honey. I'm more concerned about you now. What's the house been like these days? Specifically, what has your mom been saying and doing? I've got to know to make sense of it all." "I guess I've started to wonder if I can really trust Mom too. Just let me know what you want me to do to help. I think if I poked around a bit, I'd be able to find what's going on. I'll let you know." I had no idea what she would do, but it turns out she checked her mother's purse and phone history as part of her search. Maybe I should have been more upset by this invasion of my ex-privacy, but I thought more so that it was a necessary evil. To be honest, I'd almost lost my daughter's trust over the whole thing. I also had a right to know as Riley's father. And if Monica wasn't going to admit the truth, this might be the only way they'd find out the real story. The whole situation makes me a bit uneasy, but I guess I could just try to do it quietly, okay? After a few days, I got a call that I assumed to be the report from Riley. "There are messages from some guy I don't know on Mom's phone." A new boyfriend, perhaps, I thought. And to be honest, this wasn't such a big deal to me, nor did I have a right to complain. We were divorced after all. But that was odd to me, the fact that Monica hadn't thought to tell Riley about this new man in her life. If he did become her stepdad, Riley had a right to know beforehand. It just felt unnatural that Monica hadn't let them meet yet. "I called her office and they said she was there, so she's actually been working. The weird thing, though, was that she hasn't had any overtime at all. Her coworker told me she's been leaving every day at 5. So I guess that means she's been going somewhere afterwards every day." She was with him. That was the thought that jumped into my mind. But the point was that if this guy became part of the family, he wouldn't be able to remain a secret from our daughter. Maybe they just started dating or something. In any case, I now had a better idea of the actual situation, and why Monica had set me up as the bad guy, to hide the truth from Riley. But the fact remained that my daughter's future was in trouble. "If your mom doesn't want to do anything, I'll set up the transfer to public school for you, honey. I'll go to the town office tomorrow." "Thanks, Dad, I appreciate it." I canceled my next deposit into Monica's account and did all the paperwork for Riley's transfer. I would pay for all the fees directly from now on. Cutting Monica out of the equation seemed like the best solution, but it seemed like the whole thing wasn't going to be able to be fixed so easily. When we divorced, Monica received full custody of Riley. What can I do to fix this? Should I move back into my wife's house? I was thinking that maybe if I was around, it would force Monica to give it all up. The problem started when I wasn't around, after all. We had lived together at one time before our divorce. We could make it work, but the town official only shook his head sadly. "If you went to court, you would be able to return to the house as well as your rights as a guardian looking over your daughter's well-being. But there is a difference between the rights of a parent and the rights of a legal guardian. You can look after your daughter and take care of her, but you wouldn't have any legal decision-making power in her life. For that reason, we won't be able to process your transfer paperwork today. As for legal guardian, only your daughter's mother has the power to file such paperwork." The town official explained this all to me politely and succinctly. It seemed as if I was powerless to do anything. "I feel like I failed you." "No, Dad, don't say that. Mom hasn't told me anything. Even though I doubted you at first, I'm glad you called. Thanks for taking the time to go to the town office for me." Her quiet thanks made me even more sad about the whole situation. How could I not be sad? She only had 3 years to enjoy being a high schooler, and she had spent half of one studying at home by herself, not to mention the friends she wasn't able to see from her old school. No clubs or school activities either. My daughter was being robbed of her childhood in the cruelest, most unfair of ways. And since it was her mother doing it to her, Riley couldn't really be as angry as she might have if it was a stranger. She was too sweet to turn on her own family, even if she was being hurt. And Monica was probably trying to play the good mother, to stay in Riley's good favor. Setting me up was just par for the course. I arranged to meet Monica so I could hear it all directly from her. Monica came to the meeting much more dolled up and young-looking than I remembered, the appearance of someone who was clearly dating again. I thought I'd be able to sign Riley up for her new school as her dad, but it turns out it has to be you, as her legal guardian, who does the paperwork. Can we go to the office together and get it done? What do you say? You must realize how important this is. Our daughter's education is at stake. I made this pitch to her, not paying attention who may have overheard, but Monica just replied coldly, as if our daughter wasn't even worth the time of day. "I'm way too busy trying to find a new job. She'll just have to wait. I'll tell her myself." "You know that isn't true. And judging from your appearance and what Riley has told me, you don't seem to be searching for a job at all. What are you hiding? Admit it, you've been using the child support money for something else entirely. I took out my phone that had all the screenshots Riley had snapped from Monica's phone. The messages she had been sending her new guy were in there. The unshakable evidence that her own daughter had collected against her was what finally made Monica tell the truth. I've been seeing someone. He works at a local nightclub. He told me he'd clean up and marry me soon, but I need money when I meet him and money to look the part. That's where your money has been going. She's been using the child support money and even her own salary to pay some host every night. I was struck dumb by the truth for a moment, but quickly regained my composure as my thoughts returned to Riley. I had only heard her voice over the phone and didn't know how her actual living situation with Monica was, but she might already have lost not only her allowance, but also access to a steady meal because of her mother's behavior. I had finally reached the breaking point. I thought she'd be happier with her mother than her father when I left her in your custody. You don't understand. This is the only way for us to be happy, Monica said icily. I felt bad about what I had to do now, but it was clear that a word from me wasn't going to change anything, so I made up my mind. And even though I didn't want to make my ex into an enemy, I knew I had to act for Riley's sake. It wasn't just about Riley either. I started to hate Monica as a person as well. I couldn't let my daughter remain near that poisonous woman for any longer. Riley needs to come live with me. I can't trust her with you anymore. I will see you in court. I brought the matter of custody to court. Monica had clearly abused her responsibility as Riley's mother, so I should be able to get Riley with little to no trouble. It had been 2 years since we had last been to court over Riley's custody, but even though it was a formal situation, I can't say Riley was properly dressed for the occasion. She had grown but was still wearing her old clothes, denied an outfit that may have been more suitable. She was wearing some old ensemble that made her look younger than she actually was, not to mention how sad she looked. Here was my beautiful daughter who usually pleased everyone with her charming smile. Where was the joking and smiling Riley? The clothes weren't the big issue, of course. She just didn't want to watch her parents fight in court. But I think she also understood that it was for her own good. Either way, she didn't say anything about it. Riley, are you sure you're okay with living with your dad from now on? I guess we haven't had a lot of time with each other, but I know you were sending money for my life every month, and I remember how you brought me to my entrance exam. I know now that that is what family does for each other, and even though I'll be leaving her house, Mom will still be my mom, so I'm not worried at all by living with you. Hearing those words gave me a sense of happiness and responsibility. I would do better by my daughter from here on in. The next time we met, Monica was staring daggers at me. I can't believe this is happening to me. Me, the one who raised her all this time. I listened to this and just thought of Riley. I know I wasn't always there, but I always tried my best to support you too. It was you who betrayed your own daughter's trust. If you still feel any shred of motherly tenderness in your heart, you'll ask for forgiveness. She said nothing in reply. My ex-wife was still chasing after some young host wearing clothes and makeup, playing some flashy character. But the court ruled that she had to return all the money that she had used. She would have to return it all. It wouldn't be able to live that kind of life any longer. Eventually, she began paying back the money. To do so, she had to sell most of her brand-name bags and clothes. And even after all that, it seemed as if she wouldn't be able to return it all. The remainder was converted into a long-term loan that I had a lawyer set up. As for the host that my wife was seeing, he couldn't be held responsible for his part in taking the money. He didn't seem to care where he was getting his money from. I guess that would be obvious, but mainly since my ex's money had run out, she was no longer welcome at the host club where he worked, and was eventually prohibited from going there. The club clearly didn't want to get caught up in the squabble. She was abandoned by the guy she had spent so much time and money on, and was so hurt at having lost him. I can't help but feel she brought it on herself, though. Brought back to reality by the loan she still had to pay and the man she loved leaving her. I hope that one day she'll be able to apologize for her actions. My daughter, now with me, was able to catch up on her studies. And even though she had missed almost a whole year, she got into a public school and kept studying hard. Dad, I really want to go to college in New York, so I'll keep studying hard to make it happen. Is that right? Well, if it's you, I guess it's possible. The fact that I could hear her dreams like this now that she was back living with me gave me such a feeling of peace. My daughter's dreams were now my dreams, and I too will keep on doing my best. Dad, thanks for fighting for me to go back to school.